Hello everyone, this is the Frugal Engineer, and today I bring you a new series that I have been working on for a few months. I have built a web application to help users simulate investments using real financial information from the stock market. Have you ever wondered how much you would have earned if you had started investing a few years ago? Or maybe you want to start investing today, but you are unsure about which financial product is the best for you. One of my passions outside of technology is long-term investing. You can see a trend in my former videos where I work on interesting technology projects with a financial touch. Like when I show you how you can build your own stock tracker in Android using real market data. I also made a simple tutorial on how to fetch real-time data from the stock market using the free Yahoo Finance API and C#. Going back to the video, you can use my web application to do backtesting to simulate how a particular investment strategy would have performed in the past, so you can estimate how much you would have earned if you had followed a particular investment strategy from a previous time up to the present, or if you want, you can simulate possible future scenarios to estimate how an investment strategy might work in the future. You can also use my web application to perform Monte Carlo simulations based on real financial data from the markets. Please keep in mind that this application is only for educational purposes. Always check with an authorized financial advisor before making any real investment operation. Let's jump now to a quick demo, and then I will tell you more about the architecture of the application. App. As you can see, my app is publicly hosted, and no worries, I will explain everything on future videos, but now just let's jump to the demo. The first thing that we need to do is to log in. My app communicates with the backend via authenticated APIs. In order to do that, the customer needs to introduce the login details, then this goes to the backend and I get a valid JSON web token that I will use in the APIs to authenticate. I will explain more of how this works in the next videos, but I also have a diagram in the next one. So first we introduce the my testing email. Okay, I authenticate, this communicates with the backend, and then I get a fresh JSON web token. The next thing I want to do is to configure the simulation. We can have two main types of simulation. The past simulation that simulates how much money you would have earned if you would have started investing in the past. This is to perform backtesting of investment strategies. Or you can then test future investment results based on Monte Carlo simulation. Let's go to past simulation. Then you want to add what's the monthly amount that you want to invest. So let's go for example for 500, and then if you want to increase that amount, let's say that you want to keep up with inflation, so your investments keep up with the annual inflation, so that makes sense. So let's leave it at 3. Then when do you want to start investing? Let's say that for example you would have started investing in 2004. On the other hand, if this is a future simulation, you will add how many years you want to do the simulation, but at the moment let's go for past simulation. How much the initial investment, let's say that you start investing with 0, and then the ticker. This is the financial product that you want to do the simulation. As you can see, there is a huge list of products. This list of products is fixed, meaning that I only have data for those elements. However, I will teach you how you can add more data. These are probably the most used tickers, so I wanted to use those ones. So let's go for the most standard one, the SP500, and then we fetch data. Basically what this do is goes to the backend, fetch the data, and I represent them in a nice chart. I will explain how this works in future videos, and of course you will find all my source code in the links of the video below, and you can then access GitHub. As you can see the graph. I compare how much money you would have had if you just just save the money in a bank account with 0% interest, comparing to just investing in the stock market. As you can see, it's a huge difference. We can see here the KPIs. You would have earned almost 200% in these years. And what is useful is that you can try with different products. For example, let's say if you would have invested just in Apple stocks, you can see a massive amount, but maybe this is not the best strategy now. Or maybe if you go for any other product, so we can go then for this one that is based on the MSCI World ETF. So then you can see the difference, and this can help you to compare different investments strategy based on different financial products. So again, this is only for educational purposes. If you really want to invest, you need to check with an approved financial investors. Now I want to show you the future simulation that does Monte Carlo. Again, we will have a video where I explain this, how it works in the future, and we do the same. In this case, we just said, hey, I want to simulate my investments in 10 years. I want to start investing today 500, and then I want to see how potentially how much I could earn if I start investing today and I get my results in 10 years. And in this case, let's say, for example, you have already invested 1000, so now you can do the simulation. So potentially, again, this is just a simulation. You could earn this amount compared to just saving the money, and this is the percentage of gains. Again, I'm sorry to repeat myself too much, but this is only for educational purposes, or to just test different investments. So if you stay with me, I will explain to you how I did it and all the different pieces. So in the next part of the video, we are going to see how the flows work. So stay with me. I hope you enjoyed the demo. In this new series, I will show you how I built this web application. I will explain all the Python libraries that I use to make it possible. This series will have 4 main episodes that I will publish in the next few weeks. The first video is just a simple introduction to the project and the full demo that you just watched. In the second video, I will focus on the Python code of the backend. In the third video, I will briefly explain the front-end code. I have to confess I'm not the biggest fan of front-end programming, but I did my best to create a nice looking dashboard. Finally, in the last videos of the series, I want to briefly explain how I uploaded all my source code to GitHub, the front end and also the back end. My webpage is currently hosted using GitHub pages. I want to explain how I have used Docker to containerize the app, and also how I uploaded to Google Cloud, all of this for free. In this video, I also want to discuss the future of this app and all the possibilities and new projects that I can do based on this app. As always, you can find my source code that I have published in GitHub, so feel free to download it and start testing. I don't want to get into many technical details of the video. In future videos of this series, we will do a deep down analysis of my frontend and my backend code. This image represents the super simple architecture of my application. We have the front end, programming basic HTML, CSS and JavaScript, hosted in GitHub, using the functionality GitHub pages. This allows GitHub users to quickly host simple web pages like this one. The Python backend is hosted in Google Cloud, containerized in a Docker container. In future videos of this series, I will explain how you can host a Docker container in Google Cloud absolutely for free. Finally, all the real market data is coming from the yfinance Python library that use the free services from the Yahoo Finance API. Nothing on my project would have been possible without this data. Let's now jump to review the flows of the application. This next image represents the flow for the authentication of users. As you have seen in the demo, the user has to introduce valid credentials in order to use the application. This is to add a layer of security on my app to avoid unauthorized users to call the APIs. These credentials are sent to the Python backend. If the credentials are correct, my backend will return a JSON Web Token, also called JWT. You can define the expiration date of the tokens. I think I configure my tokens to be expired after 24 hours. Of course, I will show you how to do this in the next video. We will use this token to authenticate the API calls to the backend to retrieve the financial data. As you can see, it's a really simple flow, and as I already said, we will see this in more detail in the next videos. The following flow represents how a user can fetch an investment. When the user selects the parameters, the frontend executes an API call. The API call has the following parameters: the JWT token for identification purposes, the type of simulation, past or future, the monthly amount that the user wants to invest, the yearly increase of the amount invested, in case of future simulation, how many years to simulate investing for, or if it's a past simulation, the start year of the simulation until today, and the financial ticker, the investment asset to base the simulation on. After the API call reaches the backend, there are a few elements involved. I have an API interface that will validate the token, and if it's valid, it will start the execution to generate the simulation. Of course, it's not valid, then I will return an error. And I will explain with full details my Python script in the next video, but to summarize it, I have two more Python files with different functions. The nest function will take care of generating all the values for the simulations, but before that I have another Python file with functions that will get the raw data of the market values for the financial instruments. Once all the values are calculated, we return these values to the front end. The front end uses a JavaScript library that will generate the investment charts and the KPIs that you saw during the demo. And of course, in my next video I will explain my front end code. Before I finish the video, I want to show you the last flow. It's the function in Python that allows me to refresh all the market values in batch. I thought it was a better idea for my app to store the market values for all the financial instruments that I want to do simulations. So if I want to update the values, I can do it once per month, for example, instead of having to call the yfinance library every time I want to do a simulation. This allows me to reduce the traffic that my app generates and also to improve response time. To be honest, we don't need a super updated values to the simulations, so typically I just update them once per month. We will see this in more details in future videos, but basically I have a loop that goes through the list of values that I want to update and then calls yfinance library. Well, this is everything I had in mind to show you in this video. Remember that all my source code is available in Github if you want to test it yourself. I will have to remove the Docker container from Google Cloud. Unfortunately, I'm using the free tier, so if a lot of people will start to do API calls, it will reach to its free limit. Remember that I will upload more videos of this series during the next weeks. And please, if you like the video, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. This is quite a small channel and your feedback gives me a lot of motivation to continue working. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.